A few moments later.
Another beautiful morning. I sure hope I don't hear any really loud noises today, because that would suck. Oh. Alright then. Hello there, welcome to the video. Today we're gonna be talking about— Red alert! I saw something on Twitter that scared me a lot. Did you guys know that the government is lizards and everything we know is conspiracy? God, stop! What are you talking about? Okay, so I read something really scary and I haven't been able to sleep for like 3 days. Yeah, I can tell. You look terrible. I had like 12 cups of coffee and I've been doing research on conspiracy theories for hours. Okay, so first, you know the FedEx logo? If you look at it closely, you can see that there's an arrow in it. I concluded that this means that they want to move forward with the future with AI and mind control technology. What? How? Or what about the Amazon logo? The yellow arrow is pointing from A to Z. That means they have everything from A to Z, including our full names and brain scans. No, that's not— Or how about the NBC logo? You can see a turkey in it. That means that the government is controlled by turkeys. I think you need to lay off the coffee. I don't think I've had enough. Habits are a big part of every person's life. They control the paths you take, the patterns you make, and the actions that form the repetitive sequence of events that are triggered in your brain through the forces of your environment. Whether it's a certain time of day, a certain smell, or just a feeling you get, the more you do it, the more it's ingrained as a habit. In fact, the definition of a habit is a recurrent, often unconscious pattern of behavior that is acquired through frequent repetition. And I know I've mentioned some of this before, but I've never went super into them yet. So for those of you who don't know, I first should probably show you an idea from Charles Duhigg's book, The Power of Habit, that he calls the habit loop. So habits typically start with a cue. The cue being, like I mentioned, a sound, smell, time that triggers a craving. This usually creates a spike in brain activity. In rats, for example, when they heard a click in a controlled experiment, they knew the door was going to open and they could get the cheese on the other side. Following that is the routine. And for the rats, they knew exactly what direction to go each time they heard the cue. And if that routine changed at all and they had to go the other way to get the cheese, they would get confused, sad, upset, or even angry. Or at least the closest thing to upset you can see in a brain scan, You don't exactly see rats going to a therapist talking about their problems, but you know what I mean. They did this experiment with monkeys as well, giving them juice whenever they pushed a button at the correct time. And if they didn't get juice when they were supposed to, they would sometimes get angry or even violent. In fact, during the experiment, some of them would stay in the facility while the other monkeys were playing outside and just push the button over and over again trying to get the juice. And this is one of many experiments that played a role in understanding dopamine. Or in other words, that's what scientists call the happy stuff that goes through your brain whenever you satisfy a craving of some sort, like an internet addiction, for example. Then finally is the reward, which for humans can either be the satisfying chemicals of a cheeseburger or the relief of cracking your knuckles. Habits can develop in ways that are sometimes hard to understand. Like you wake up one morning and you realize, why am I doing this? But they usually originate from the patterns of our everyday lives. Maybe it's the way a grocery store is formatted, or maybe through certain life experiences or something you've done since childhood. And habits can never really be eliminated from our brains. But we can control those habits through practice and discipline to create some relief if it's causing problems physically, like biting your nails or drinking alcohol or overeating. This video I'll be going in depth on social psychology and the influences around us that encourage the many actions we do every day. We'll be studying the norms of group thinking, conformity, and the subtle yet effective methods of marketing and advertising that have been used for over 100 years and are only getting more and more advanced as marketers learn more about our habits. Hopefully this video will help you understand just how important habits are and why we need to be aware of which ones are ours and which ones aren't. Everyone has individual little quirks that aren't necessarily bad, but were created purely through our environmental practices that we've become comfortable with. Some of those habits are good, some of them not so good. A misconception is that all habits are bad in one way or another, but that's not always true. You can have a good habit of like getting your homework done at the same time every day, or how you tie your shoes. But of course there are bad habits as well, and you can probably think of a few off the top of your head. Most people have at least one bad habit. I have a few, honestly. My life is a bad habit. But the question I want to ask today is if these habits control us. Are some of these habits even ours to begin with? What if the media is handing us the many habits that we feel are our fault, but they're not? In the age of social media, where everyone is on their phones and computers, where technology and society is changing at a faster rate than it's ever been in all of history, how much of what we are and what we do is really in our control? Now, this may seem like a scary question, but don't worry. I'm not going to conclude that you're a mindless zombie or that everything we know is a lie and the government's lizards, guys. But I just want to open a discussion. Take some time to think about our ourselves, and how much of our habits were created by us or by them? Or in other words, how much are we really being manipulated by big companies to do what they want us to do through our habits? I'm asking a lot of questions. Let's just get into it. Now, before I say this first thing, I want to warn you that if you don't know about this, it could be very shocking. But please remember that this isn't a new thing. This has been happening for years, and if you start feeling a little paranoid listening to this, just remember that it only really affects you badly if you're unaware that these things are constantly happening. Just being knowledgeable will probably convince you to make smarter decisions in the future. Okay. Here we go. Companies have a lot of data. Like, an enormously large amount of data is constantly being collected by your favorite stores and websites. Also, I want to note real quick that no, this video has nothing to do with Facebook. In fact, I don't think I mentioned Facebook once in this video because I was working on this before any of that stuff happened. I'm not going to talk about how all the companies have been changing their privacy policy. This is something different. Imagine you walk to the self-checkout line at a store and a robot is standing there and he does a quick scan and he's all like, oh, hello, John Smith, 6 feet, 173 pounds, 23 years old. How are the 3 kids doing? I'm sorry to hear about that divorce you had recently. Maybe you'd be interested in buying some Lay's sour cream and onion chips so you can eat the pain. I also heard you're going on a ski trip tomorrow. Might I interest you in some gloves?
Oh, congratulations on the new job at Starbucks. Maybe you can celebrate with a little Bud Light. I know you were drinking some last night. Here's a coupon so you can buy it again.
Also, by the way, did you see that new episode of Modern Family last night? Of course you did. I know everything.
Anyway,
Enjoy your night. Oh my god. Yeah. I'm serious. They get this information through surveys you fill out, when you call customer support, when you get emails, even just using social media like you normally do. There are people everywhere collecting data through things like checking your selfies, your reading habits, the cars you own, your religion, your political stance, what you post online and where you're posting it, even charities you support. All of this information is being used for advertising, marketing, and making sure that they know where to find you so they can learn what you're interested in and find things you're doing that could be improved through brands. In fact, this was a kind of big thing in the early 2000s, but it was a bit secretive at the time. Some grocery stores have even done studies taping consumers walking through grocery stores. They have probably thousands of tapes. One of them might even be you when you were a little younger. And through these tapes, they've learned a lot about the habits of the average consumer. For example, they learned that in the United States, most people turn to the right when they first walk into a store. So they put all the good stuff on the right side. They also learned more than 50% of confirmed purchases occur at the moment a shopper sees an item in a grocery store, regardless of their shopping list and how dedicated they were to sticking to it. Another thing they learned was that certain people have certain habits, like people who buy the same bag of chips or the same half gallon of milk every time they go to the store, even if they already have milk at home. It's one of those things that's unique to every individual person. You right now probably have a few shopping habits you don't even know about. No doubt you have a bunch of regular habits, good or bad, that are a part of your life. Stores like Target, for example, are always getting statistics to learn about your habits and personal life. It's what some people call mathematical mind reading. They might know your age, if you're married, the websites you go on, your job history, articles you read, who you follow, if you're going to college, if you recently moved, if you're married, you have a girlfriend, a boyfriend, and probably so much more. And a big reason why they know all these things is because research has shown that people tend to purchase new products and change their habits when big changes happen in people's lives. A new life for new products. So they want to be able to quote-unquote track consumers and be able to keep their eye out for when you're going to subconsciously change your habits. Or to keep it simple, most consumers probably won't notice their shopping habits change, but marketers are paying close attention to find what your most vulnerable point is to where you'll be susceptible to their tactics. As messed up as that may sound, it's pretty common, and it may happen more than you think. You ever get coupons in the mail that say they were made just for you? Yeah, they weren't kidding. They can even notice if you're buying cereal at one store and then you buy milk at another store. They want you to buy both at the same store, so they'll try to convince you to do that. And in 2002, they were already creating computer programs that could predict your lifestyle and shopping habits. And over 16 years later, we have come so far. Just imagine what they know about you now. It used to be that companies only knew what their customers wanted them to know. That world is far behind us. You'd be surprised how much information is out there. And every company buys it because it's the only way to survive. Let's say every Thursday morning you go to the store to get some milk, some eggs, and some bread. A computer in a building somewhere probably already knows this, and the computer is recording tons of data to learn why you need these things. We are in the future, and it is insane. It's like a psychic knows what you're about to buy at Walmart today, except that psychic is a super advanced, high-powered machine that's calculating thousands of algorithms of carefully researched data just to find out you're about to buy a can of soup today. And maybe it'll convince you to buy some soda and that cool-looking toothbrush that you're never going to use. So knowing that these stores are aware of your data and what you're you're purchasing every month. They'll use this to try to convince you to buy things and push you in the direction to maintain that habit. And they hope that your habit stays in the store that's collecting that data, because they want their store to be your favorite store. And so with that, they'll do other things not just in computers, but in the buildings themselves. Here's a few interesting facts I've learned about the many stores and how they're formatted. Some of these may surprise you and have you thinking twice about your first steps into a mall, a store, a GameStop, or even a McDonald's. I'm gonna do a kind of lightning round with these because I just kept finding more and more, and each one just gets more weird and interesting as I go on. Alright.
Here we go!
Okay, so this first one is gonna be kind of mild and stupid, but in the cereal aisle, I learned that the boxes are purposely not put in alphabetical order so that you take more time finding the cereal you want, and also creating a higher chance of you buying and trying other things. This is just a fun fact to get us started that you could probably guess already. Also, I want to note that a lot of these facts are American stores, but this next one is really interesting. Walking through malls and sidewalks, it's been proven that companies emit smells of Cinnabons and other foods so that you're more likely to want it. Have you ever walked down the street and smelled some really good food around lunchtime, so you decided to get something to eat? It's possible that that might not be the natural smell of the food, but they tend to add vents specifically designed to make you want to eat their product while walking through a mall or something. The music in stores and shops is carefully chosen at different times of the day. For example, certain music you hear in a commercial once and you hear it again in the store, and then suddenly the store feels more familiar. Or hearing German or French music in a wine shop, studies show makes people want to buy certain brands of wine. Also, based on how fast or slow the music is, they may want you to either take your time and look for your important purchases, or maybe they'll put on some fast pop music to make you want to run through the store buying a bunch of stuff. Not literally running, unless it's Black Friday. But you know, music can sometimes increase your heart rate and make you feel good, so of course they're gonna take advantage of that. Price labels. Now, this one you might know, but it is true that they do a lot of things with price tags and make them seem cheaper. Okay, I forgot to record this part for some reason, but basically the theory was that when you look at like $1.99, you look from left to right when you read things, and it's like, you see the 1 and then you see the 99, it's like, oh, that's cheaper. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just a theory, and I don't really think there's much to back it up, but this is what it is. Also, the way items in the store are placed is that they'll usually put the name brand higher price stuff, for example, your favorite cereal, they'll put it right in the middle shelf, because after collecting all this data, they know what most people want, and so they put everything they think you want right in front of your eyes at all times. And it may even cost a little extra than the thing you gotta crouch down to get or put your hands up high for, and they want you to do that often. I'm so lazy. I just wanted an apple. Also, speaking of things right in front of your eyes, you ever notice that some of the first things you see when you walk into a store are the flowers, the baked goods, the cupcakes, the balloons, and all this colorful stuff that smells and looks really good? Well, obviously they're trying to give you a good first one, but they're also attempting to activate your salivary glands and your dopamine cravings so that you'll make more impulse purchases and buy things you might not even want at all. It's sort of an information overload the moment you walk into the store. Your brain will suddenly spike in activity and get you interested in your surroundings. Plus, you know the free samples and stuff? This one's probably obvious, but yeah, they want to slow you down and get you to buy something. I remember as a kid when we went to the mall, I'd always be scheming about how I can go to the Target next door, borrow some clothes, and dress up like another person so I can get another piece of teriyaki chicken. It doesn't work, by the way. I wonder why. Colors in general are also pretty important too. I love colors. Who doesn't like colors? Probably blind people. Studies have shown warm colors outside of a store attract more people, since those colors typically stand out in the brain as flashy and process quicker. And the inside of the store is usually more cool colors like blues and greens, maybe some whites and grays, as it makes people feel more calm and want to stay in the store longer. Also, you ever notice that you see big shopping carts everywhere but struggle to find the small ones? Yeah, they give you these super big carts so you can ride in them and race your friends through the store. I'm kidding, they want you to buy more. Rumors even say that shopping carts are getting bigger every year. Little tip if you're on a diet, try to use a smaller plate in a smaller shopping cart. You'll limit yourself more and feel happier with your choice. Science. Not to mention, you may have heard of this from Shane Dawson or from Shark Tank, but you might know of the infamous skinny mirrors. Designed in many stores around the world to make you buy more clothes. Not just making you look thin, but making aspects of your face, shoulders, legs, and hair look more presentable in just the right ways. It's all mathematically planned out from bottom to top, a perfectly crafted mirror in dressing rooms everywhere to validate you and make you feel more comfortable buying clothes from their store, even if it looks terrible when you go home to the mirror later at night.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
My legs look so much smaller in the Target one.
It is drastically different.
And that's it for the lightning round of each flavor of mind control potions they spray in your favorite Walmart. No, but seriously, there's a lot more out there, but these are just a few examples I wanted to talk about. People who work in marketing know that the best results come from human connections, from emotions, impulse, and the things going on in our lives that shape us to be the people we are. Advertisers create these habits and encourage old ones so that your life will be based around the daily activities of purchasing and using products in certain stores, using certain brands as a part of your life. But you probably already know that stores want you to buy stuff. Do you really think they solely care about making the world a better place? I mean, maybe, but I feel like that's not their end goal when doing stuff like this. It's like when you see a cheeseburger in a commercial that probably has shoe polish, paint, fluff, and plastic put into it so that it looks nothing like the one you actually get at that place. They're painting images everywhere to give you a better idea of the world they want you to live in. That might seem dramatic, but bear with me. There are advertisements everywhere that influence us in surprising ways. Like, even if the commercial is muted, you can probably still see the brand in the corner of your eye, and you might buy it later that evening having no idea what led you to do that. It's so weird.
I suddenly want some McDonald's now. Oh boy.
That being said, I want to talk about advertisements you see on TV. Or actually, since you're watching this on YouTube right now, you probably see a lot of ads on YouTube or maybe Hulu, and probably walking outside or on the websites you go on. So yeah. Advertisement. Commercials are very subtle in what they do. They used to be designed to tell you everything about the product. The big pitch convincing you that this is something you need right now. For only $399.99, you can order a big balloon with a face on it named Jerry. And he's not a super advanced service robot like those other products. He's just a balloon that will provide you comfort during your times of crippling loneliness. But don't hug him too hard, because he'll pop and die. Order now! Well, in today's day and age, it's more about minimalism. Hey guys, just buy it, please. These days, it's all about getting a certain picture in your head, a certain logo, a brand, or even an idea. They do this with car commercials, fast food, phones, computers, tablets, soda, all that stuff. For example, Beats headphones that are known to not be the highest quality ever, but people still buy them for some reason, whether it's because they saw a celebrity wearing them or claims that they wear them in studios when they make music. In fact, I got some for my birthday hoping they would be really good, and they broke after 3 months. This applies to big brands we've seen a million times without even thinking about it. And it creates a comfort and trust with choosing the thing that might cost a little more, but as a product, it might be a little lower quality than the other brands. In fact, studies have fascinatingly shown that those given off-brand medicine versus a more trusted, expensive brand, they tend to feel more energized and happier with a more expensive item, even though it's sometimes a nearly identical ingredient. They recognized it. It's all psychological stuff built through years of advertising that has lived through our lives. They've been there during our good times and our bad times. We become so familiar with them every day that we can point at a lot of brands and say what they are in just milliseconds. And in a way, it's kind of cool that it's helping people psychologically, but the more you think about it, the more unsettling it feels. Like, imagine going your entire life never seeing a single advertisement. While you'd probably be influenced by the people around you, and not through celebrity endorsements and the ideal images of a fun day and that 30-second advertisement you keep seeing over and over again, things would likely change a lot more than you'd expect by simply removing all advertisements from your life. But it would be very difficult, so you can't make ad block in real life. Okay, so we've talked about the data that companies are collecting, the many ways habits are encouraged and manipulated in our environments, and the advertisements we see in sometimes the most subtle and sneaky ways. But what about the products themselves? Let's talk about that. A lot of what we know about marketing today all started from a man named Claude C. Hopkins, when he was one day approached for a business idea called Pepsodent. At first, he declined the offer because he wasn't sure how he could advertise toothpaste, because at the time, no one was really buying it, even though everyone in the nation was having dental problems. Gee, I wonder why. But this person was persistent with Hopkins. He wanted this idea to work so bad, and he would come to him again and again and again, and eventually, Hopkins gave in and decided to try out the idea. And this idea would be one of the best decisions of his life and career. Celebrities of the time saying they had the famous Pepsodent smile, and everyone in the nation was now brushing their teeth with this product. So how did he do it? He created a habit and made marketers realize how important habits are to advertising. The idea of advertising suddenly became more focused on science and psychologically convincing people that they needed to add this product to their lives. What Hopkins did was made claims that when you used Pepsodent, it would remove a film from your teeth that would make them whiter and cleaner. But he said the effects would only take place if you used it often. And it wasn't true that toothpaste would remove the film of your teeth, but people bought it. And it worked. And over time, people realized that the toothpaste would leave a small sting in their mouth. And advertisements would say, oh yeah, that's the toothpaste doing its job, which led to people only wanting the toothpaste that gave them the cue that the toothpaste was working. This product literally created a habit that millions of us do every single day. And even if Hopkins was a little scummy with his advertising methods, we have a lot to thank him for. Otherwise, we may be walking around with dirty teeth every day, and we probably wouldn't know nearly as much about marketing as we do now. Even YouTube itself creates many habits. The website has tons of algorithms running in the background to make sure people are watching videos and watching them often. Not to mention that it's been proven that many fast food places put salt and special chemicals on the food so that when they hit your tongue, they unleash a bunch of dopamine, making you become kind of addicted to the fast food so that you'll buy it again and again. It's quick, easy, and chemically satisfying. And I've mentioned this in past videos, but our brains like to live in the present, and fast food does a great job at providing that. Same with movie theaters and convenience stores. You ever notice that you almost bought a medium, but you realize you could get a bigger drink for just 50 cents more? Well, a lot more people do that than you think. In fact, this trick has been used in a lot of stores so that you'll spend a little extra getting a bigger item than getting nothing at all. Gyms as well. Workers are trained to remember people's names and put a large focus on human connection so that people will come back. Since studies have weirdly shown that people like to go for the emotional aspects and not just for the equipment. Plus, this one is just a rumor, but I've heard that they intentionally spell your name wrong at Starbucks so that you'll talk about it on social media and share pictures of it. That's just a rumor though. So what's going on? Are we being hypnotized? Are we submissive to the habits around us? Do we need to hide away in a white room and never talk to people again? Yeah, that's exactly what we gotta do. We gotta head to the bunkers. The McDonald's ads are taking over our brains. No, but really though, you're gonna be fine. This stuff has been happening since the 1900s and even a little before that. It's just that it's become a bit more advanced. And it's really not that bad. Like, it can feel a little creepy sometimes, but it's mostly harmless to your daily life. However, if you are feeling a bit paranoid about all this stuff, my suggestion is to take some notes. Think about why you're feeling paranoid and what you can do to balance more self-control in your life to focus on what you care about and what you want to do with your life. We're not in the year 2250 where we have little chips in our brains forcing us against our will to do everything robotically. We're gonna be okay. I just wanted to take some time to think about the fact that maybe not everything we do is because we made that decision alone. There's influences everywhere, and that's not always a bad thing. It can give us things to talk about. It can provide comfort in using certain products that everyone else is using. But make sure you do your research and don't spend a bunch of money just to blend in with the crowd. If you're saving up your money for those cool shoes all your friends are wearing, make sure you'll actually wear them, that they'll make you happy. The goal of this video isn't that you have to eat tofu and stay woke and be constantly paranoid of everything you're eating and seeing and doing. In fact, while recording this video, I'm eating a Burger King cheeseburger that probably has a few chemicals in it, but hey, it's pretty good. So in conclusion, habits are being made all the time. That doesn't mean you can't have fun and enjoy your life, but it's always good to keep your eye out and make sure you focus on being yourself and doing what makes you happy. Then maybe you'll be a little more aware of your surroundings and make more fulfilling decisions in the future. We're not pawns in a big game of brands and advertisements. Live your life the way you want to live it, not how advertisements want you to live. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say for today. Have a great day or night. Stay safe, and as always, good vibes, everyone. Hi, what's up? So before I say anything else, I want to give a special thanks to my patrons. I want to thank Sparksion, Chip Flake, who recently snuck Zal and I in their video Summer Sucks. Go check that out. I love it. Goulash Josh, Alpha Knight 1, Aiden Briggs, and Champy. I want to thank those people. They've been supporting the channel, and if you want to help support the channel, there's a link down below. You can also get some rewards and stuff. It's pretty cool. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. It took a while to make because videos are hard. Videos are hard. But seriously, I do appreciate that you watched the entire thing. If you're still listening right now, then you're probably in the 3% or maybe 1%. I don't even know. If you're wondering though, I'm constantly working on videos all the time and other projects and stuff. So you can follow my Twitter if you want to hear more about that. And I'll see you later. Bye.